Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida. It's round 10 of the Thor Fights Unlimited AMA Supercross Series. Hello, everybody. Art Ekman along with David Bailey, Davey Coombs, and Marty Reed. Now getting right to the racing. Our qualifying procedure goes like this. The top 4 riders in each of the 2 qualifying heats advance directly to the main event with the first choice of gate position. The rest of the field then goes to the semifinals, where the top 5 from each semifinal earn their way to the main. Only one more chance to get into the money, and that's the last chance qualifier, where only the top 2 can qualify. Now for heat number 1, Jeremy McGrath, Mike LaRocco, Ezra Lusk, Damon Bradshaw, Brian Swink, and Ryan Hughes. Good to see him back on the track.
Great to see him back. He had the chicken pox and some injuries, and I had the chicken pox when I was 24, and it's no fun, but he took the time to put in a pool, so he hasn't been roughing it too much.
Oh, there's number 1, clapping his hands as usual, Jeremy McGrath, getting the last-second instructions from his mechanic, Wyatt Seals, who incidentally had quite a rough time getting that bike back together earlier today.
Yeah, quite a storm over at the Suzuki pits.
Here we go, set to go. And look at the bunch toward there. It's Ezra Lusk, number 11. On the outside, Swink, number 13.
What a great start for Lusk, who came from the outside, angled in. He got on the brakes so hard the rear wheel actually left the ground. And Ryan Hughes, a great start for his return.
Ezra Lusk won here in 94 on the 125s. It started a great string of victories. Ezra goes down. In his battle with Ryan Hughes, Jeremy McGrath now takes the lead as Ezra picks himself up off the dirt.
As Ezra picked himself up, he got clobbered by a couple of guys. Look, you can see something hanging from his handlebar. Watch Ryan Hughes right here. He goes to the inside, tries to make a clean pass. They get together, and he runs right into Lusk, and that wasn't the end of it. McGrath takes the lead, and Lusk got hit again by the traffic. The
battle in the whoops is between LaRocco for 4th and Ryan Hughes. Ryan Hughes bobbling a little bit, coming over the crown there. Right behind him is Brian Swink, and then there's LaRocco, number 5. Swink won here at 93 and 92 on a 125. As we take a look at Mike LaRocco, who's had some good times on this track. He's never finished worse than 6th in the main event.
He's done a great job. Swink's been really turning it up lately, and now we're looking at the slick, crafty McGrath. It comes out smelling like a rose when guys have trouble.
Jeremy McGrath had some concerns about this bike before entering the preliminary round. Did not get much practice time today, David.
No, all day long at the Suzuki pits, they're having a firestorm going on there. The rain came through, that messed things up. The track was real dynamic, and Wyatt Seals, bless his heart, he worked all day long, but looks like he's got everything working perfectly now.
Jeremy McGrath out in front as we take a look back in the field now at Ryan Huffman, number 47, who's in 5th position. The top 4, remember, only the top 4 make it to the main event. And right now, that looks like Jeremy McGrath, Ryan Hughes, number 9, Brian Swink, and Mike LaRocco. Here's the battle for the bubble spot as Bradshaw trying to move up.
Yeah, we saw Damon last week in Houston put in one of the best rides he's had in a while. You know, at least for the first half of the moto, I know that he really wants to get things back on track, but he's having all kinds of problems.
Ryan Huffman this year has got some great starts, but the results in the main event have been around the 11th, 12th, 16th, 15th, 18th positions as Bradshaw makes the pass.
Well, he makes the pass, but he's still got another guy to get around before he's in the main event.
Out in front, Jeremy McGrath. Which 4 riders now will avoid the semifinals? We'll find out when we return to the Citrus Bowl. The ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. Jeremy McGrath is our leader here in the opening qualifying heat at the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida.
Pretty amazing for a guy that didn't even get to do any practice the second session. Everyone was out there. He was just standing at the starting line in his gear, watching, learning everything he could, and now he's leading the race, having everything in his way. Looks over his shoulder, sees his friend Ryan Hughes, and I don't think he feels too threatened as long as he keeps the pace he's had.
LaRocco closing in on Swink as we take a look at our leader, Jeremy McGrath. Boy, McGrath really wants a win here tonight.
Yeah, of course he does, but imagine how much this guy right here, Ryan Hughes, does. Coming back like he is, he's got to salvage a season with a win or two because the title's completely out of the question.
Hughes coming back after missing 4 races with that knee injury, and to add insult to injury, the chicken pox, as David mentioned. The black cloud just seemed to follow this guy around this year, Davey.
Yeah, Ryan he's thought to be like the hardest working guy out there, but if it wasn't for bad luck, he'd have nothing.
He had food poisoning, David, one time, mechanical the next time.
Injuries, sickness, this guy's battled through them all. He's a lot like LaRocco in terms of setbacks and injuries, and both those guys are tough. They're able to work through it.
He even had a rock lodged in the front brake during one race, and he had to slow down. We're looking at Brian Swank, number 13, and that's LaRocco right behind him.
LaRocco unable to do anything with Swank. He's closed a little bit of time, but then Swank opens it back up here and there. Swank's got a lot of confidence coming off the race last week. His best finish. He got a 6th in Houston, and you saw him after the races, and he was smiling, feeling like he's starting to get back on track.
Well, he can really grip the handlebars for the first time really in the season after that hand surgery on both hands prior to opening the year.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier, he's done well here before. He lives just about an hour and a half up the road in Ocala, so he's got a little contingent pulling for him in the stands too.
Our leader in our first opening qualifying heat, Jeremy McGrath.
Watch this whoop section. He's keeping it flat across the top. Then towards the end, about the last 5 or 6 of those get a lot deeper, and that's where guys start to have trouble. But Jeremy's keeping it flat all the way through.
McGrath side wheels it a little bit right there as he comes toward the finish line jump.
That actually worked to his favor because there's a rut there that he crossed over, and he's able to square that corner. You can see the effects of the rain in some of the sections. It's a little soupy, but that'll get all pushed off to the side. It'll be really nice and rough for the main event.
Yeah, it's a real dynamic track with all the rain we had here this afternoon in Orlando. You're going to see guys messing up a lot more than normal.
McGrath with 7 podiums in the previous 9 races. He leads in that category this year with the number of podiums, having one more than Emig.
This is the most interesting section of the racetrack. This whoop section has a big hill in the middle, so you're working your way up and then back down, and it's tough to keep your timing all the way through. And you can see the battle of Swank and LaRocco pulled right up to the rear fender of Hughes now.
Hughes in second place. That's where the battle is, as McGrath is way out in front.
We see Swank make a charge at Rhino right here. He's got to get it going because he's got LaRocco breathing right down his neck.
Inside move for Swank. Can't quite pull it off.
Either way you slice it, it looks like these 4 guys, or these 3 in addition to Jeremy out in front, are going to go to the main event as long as they don't knock each other down.
It must be a good feeling for Kawasaki to finally get more than one rider in the 250s with all the injuries they've suffered this year.
Well, Emig's done a great job of keeping them on track with 4 wins, leading the series, and his best season yet. And maybe Ryan can get in there and steal some points away from Jeremy McGrath in these main events the remainder of the season, make it a little easier for him to close it out.
Less than 2 laps to go. Here's our field summary. McGrath, Hughes, Swank, and LaRocco right now in position to move into the main event should it end this way. Bradshaw, though, is on the bubble, but has a long way to go.
He's going to be joined by Buddy Anton as the Arena Cross champion, Ryan Huffman in that semi, and plus Ezra Lusk, of course.
Here comes Swank again.
White
to the
flag
inside.
coming up pretty soon.
Those guys got close in the air. And watch Hughes to the whoops. He got a better run.
Oh, gutsy move by Hughes. He's got the angle on him. Ryan Hughes.
Well, he answered that nice. Swank did a good job to get in there and position himself to the inside, but Hughes thought about it in the air, I believe, and squared it off, got a straight run at the whoops, got him right back. Maybe that's the only place that Swank can get him.
A very credible ride, though, by Brian Swank.
Now, he's definitely turned it up, feeling better, and, you know, if you don't feel good, in this sport, if you got any physical problems, it's so tough to go out there to the starting gate, have any kind of confidence and battle with these guys with the pace. And there's McGrath. Talk about confidence.
Now, this is a perfect track if you want showtime.
Now he's coming up to the next triple here. Look the way he jumps into that berm. His timing looks great.
Everybody's standing up in this area now, anticipating a knack-knack, but he's got a rider underneath him, and he didn't want to take any chances.
Yeah,
little acknowledgement to the crowd.
I bet that lap rider's not very popular with the infield section down here.
That's a fact.
Jeremy working his way to the finish. You can see some of the water still standing on the track. That's where he got a little sideways before.
Jeremy McGrath, the checkered flag here in our opening qualifying heat from Orlando, Florida. Here comes the battle for second place. Look at Bradshaw. Bradshaw jumping over LaRocco. He might make it. No, LaRocco just edges him out for the final spot for the transfer to the main event. Oh, we'll get the official results coming up a little bit later. Our points leader, Jeff Emig, and others coming up next in heat number 2.
Guys, it's a lot of trouble trying to keep their rhythm. In the first triple and a section of moguls as they go across the starting line into another triple. And then right before the finish line, or actually the finish line jump, is huge, the same style as it was last week in Houston.
I guess one of the questions that the fans right here have to be asking in Orlando, they've seen Greg Albertine in his premier performance, his first American Supercross, never qualify because of going down in the qualifying heat with a separated shoulder. Then the next year, last year, he does it again almost in the same place.
It was kind of freaky. And then this morning or this afternoon I was watching him in practice, and he went down really hard in the whoop section. He got up slow, and I thought, well, I hope this isn't 3 for 3, but he got up and actually went down a couple more times. But he's one of those tough guys that can crash and get back up, and doesn't seem to phase him. There's a good look at him right now. You can see in front of him how long that start chute is.
There's Larry Ward, number 6, cranking it up, making sure the gas is turned on. Have you ever started a race and forgot it?
No, and my mechanic made sure of that. You'll see all these guys fidgeting, and they'll check the gas about 3 or 4 times. Just one of the nervous habits.
Jeff Emig, known for great starts, did not get the best of starts in the last race at Houston. In fact, he ended up last when he missed a gear going into the first turn.
Yeah, I talked to Jeff about that yesterday. We were watching a videotape of the Houston race, and he was like, oh man, I was going to get that 1/900 pro race whole shot money and all that stuff like that. It didn't phase him at all because he came from dead last to first.
Jimmy Button, who's been riding extremely aggressive lately and has done a wonderful job. In fact, he's been riding so aggressively, some of the riders getting a little irritated, like Larry Ward and maybe Doug Henry.
Yeah, but Jimmy Button does not have a lot of friends in the pits right now.
30-second board is up. When that goes sideways, they have from 5 to 10 seconds before the man in the doghouse pushes the gate. It comes down for our second qualifying heat of the evening. And of course, they'll get the better gate selections. Jeff Emig, who's done so well this year, maturing into a true champion.
He gets a pat on the back from his mechanic, Jeremy Albright. Emig has been flawless out of the gate, and although in Houston he didn't get a great start, he had a good start for the first 20 feet until he shifted. And it'd be interesting to see where the hole shot comes from. Plus came from the outside in heat 1.
He came from last to 8th in the first lap. Number 3 is Jeff Emig. Larry Ward goes to the outside, number 6. He kind of gets boxed out of there. Well, number 3 in second place behind, guess who? Greg Albertine. Larry Ward in 4th.
A couple of riders going down in the first corner, none of the favorites, but Albertine picks up the lead, and look at Emig flying through that whoop section.
Oh, boy. This is a great battle. Albertine and Emig.
Albertine coming up a little short on that triple, but he had to go for it. He didn't know what the guys were going to do behind him. He took a chance. Now Larry Ward, who came from the outside to get that start.
Ward touches the rear tire of Emig.
Boy, that was a super offensive move there by Emig. He was playing a little bit of defense there, but then I think he switched sides about halfway up the side of that jump.
Grayson Goodman getting into the match now. He's right behind Ward.
Well, Emig knows how critical it is to get in front of everybody that you can in the early laps. He may follow Larry Ward for a couple laps, and that would let Albertine get away. So you make those passes as quick as you can. Break out to a big lead. Hopefully no one will bother you.
Albie with about a 2-second lead on Jeff Emig, but we've got lots of time left. As Larry Ward, you see him there in 3rd, taking a good cut turn.
Now they're working their way into this rhythm section, a bunch of doubles, plateaus. The only way that it works out different in terms of the timing is if you use the inside through the first corner, but so far everyone's going wide to get a good run.
Right now, Jimmy Button finds himself in a difficult position, possibly going to the semifinals, as we have Albertine out in front, but Jeff Emig starting to close in. Larry Ward is in a close 3rd position, but in 4th, the final transfer spot is Phil Lawrence, and Lawrence is coming off his best finish of the year.
Well, this is a chance for Albertine to make a statement, and coming off a couple of second places heading into last week and then going down the first lap, he really had no chance of backing up that performance. And here, if he can hold off Emig.
Emig cutting to the inside. Oh, it's wheel to wheel. Nice leap by Albertine, but Emig goes to the outside, gets a lot of momentum coming into the finish line jump. Jeff Emig, Albertine wins it after the lap. And here comes Emig. Oh, Beautiful, beautiful move to the inside.
You're going to see that all night long. The inside of the corners are slick. You got to hook up on the berm, but sometimes you give away your momentum when you do that, and it's hard to get a charge at the next jump. We saw that with Emig going into the place where he made the pass. Then Albie did the exact same thing on the exit.
4 more riders trying to qualify for the main when the checkers come out when we get back.
Introducing the all-new Suzuki GSX R600. It's so quick, so intense, so dominating. Just to be fair, you might want to give the competition
Here in the second qualifying round, Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Coombs, and Marty Reed from the Citrus Bowl. What an action we've got now. Here's Phil Lawrence taking on Jimmy Button, their teammates. Jimmy Button gives him a little rub. Oh, they're scratching plastic right now.
Larry Brooks is nervous. After the last couple of weeks, Button's been very aggressive, and Phil's giving him a little taste of it.
You got to give Button credit. He is not any prejudicial passer at all. He'll tag anyone.
Look that one up in the dictionary.
Oh!
Look at there. Phil Lawrence.
Well, Button has been very aggressive, and that did not make sense right there. Didn't make sense at all, but he wants to be in the main event.
I'll tell you, something like that leads to other actions.
Here it is again. Button goes in. It's kind of what happened to Hughes and Lust.
Yes.
Same turn.
Puts a little elbow into the back of Lawrence, and he does a face plant.
Now, he didn't mean to send him down, but he sent Lawrence down right to the plywood. That couldn't have felt very good.
Maybe I'll send Marty over to the Chaparral pits after this one.
Hey, look out. Halfway through our second qualifying round. And it's Jeff Emig out in front as we take a look at Jimmy Button, who, yes, he's got a spot in the main event, but how would you like to go back to the Chaparral trailer?
I think Phil's going to be a little upset with that. And they were exchanging blows, and it was maybe pretty even, but you sure don't want to send your teammate to the semi like that. Somebody's got to miss the cut, but you don't want to send him off the track. Then
Jeff Emig out in front.
Yeah, you got to hand it to Button for being that aggressive. I mean, it's time that he knows he's got the talent. He wants to get in there and mix it up a little bit. It's just been unfortunate that the situation with Henry, he didn't do it on purpose, of course. I'm sure he didn't mean to knock Phil down, but I'm sure Phil will have a different opinion right now.
Larry Ward in second place, number 6, Honda of Troy, weeding his way through the lappers, as is Emig out in front. You know, getting back to Button, since Seattle, he's steadily improved, but Daytona, they totally reworked the bike. New engine, new suspension, new everything, and he came back with a new attitude, obviously. We just saw part of that.
Yeah, Jimmy's been working really hard with the Chaparral team. He's always known in his head that he was that good, and I don't mean that in a way to say he's brash or anything, but he's just never been able to put it together here in the States.
Well, his new attitude has added up to a 3rd place, his first podium ever at Minnesota, and a 4th place in the last race in Houston.
Just a lap or two ago, Emig had a pretty commanding lead. Now Larry Ward's starting to carve some time out of it. Here he goes to the whoop section. Look at the rhythm he's got. Larry, those long legs flying through that section. He's just entering that corner as Emig exits.
Marshall Plum, we saw him working on the board just before we cut to that shot, encouraging him to stay close.
I'm sure Jeremy Albright warned Emig of that, although Emig has said before that he doesn't really pay attention to that pit board, and it irritates his mechanic, but he needs to look now because Ward's coming strong.
Larry Ward would like that top gate choice out of this qualifying round if he could get by Jeff Emig. Emig, though, lately has been keeping tabs on who's behind him as they go through the mud hole like a steeplechase.
And Larry Ward is right on the rear fender now of Emig as they got one more lap to go.
White flag lap underway. I think Emig will hold him off. Albertine in 3rd is not getting any pressure at all from Jimmy Button in 4th.
Check out this whoop section as they get close, as they make this right-hander. This is the section the last lap we highlighted for Larry Ward, is making up all that time.
Oh, Emig standing high going through there, too.
Yeah, it's the one time that Ward really needed to hit that thing just spot on, and he missed a little bit.
And then also Emig picked it up a notch, and that's one of the sections, too, where you ride on the balls of your feet. Your feet barely touch the foot pegs through those sections.
Boy, those moguls coming out of that turn, they're interesting.
We just lost Albertine on the other side of the track. There's his bike right there.
Yep, Albertine is down.
That's after the triple before they make the left and head across the starting line. There goes Button.
So here if you're a Chaparral team manager like Larry Brooks, is saying, hey, what did you take my guy out for when both of you could have qualified?
More importantly, I wonder what's going to happen with Albertine. He looks like he's hurt on the other side of the track as we see Emig take the checkered flag.
Oh, he really does. And he was having a nice season, too. We'll get the official result and talk with our heat winner right after this.
Now you can walk into your Honda dealer and ride off with no doubt.
At least Greg Albertine is limping off. You can see gritting his teeth. His mechanic to the left, Ian Harrison. That's his father, Tony, in front, who, along with Brenda Albertine, have been over here to see him race the last 4 races. They have to leave tomorrow back for South Africa. Let's check out once again the action with Greg Albertine.
This is heading up to the triple. You can tell by his body positioning something is a little weird there. He comes up short, going over the handlebars. Now next is another section of jumps. Oh.
And he gets off.
I can't imagine what was going through his mind, but that's dangerous right there. That's a tailbone.
Ouch. Let's go down to Marty Reed and check out.
Well, Jeff Emig is down here. You got to be very happy, but this sets up a familiar showdown for all of us. McGrath wins his heat, you win your heat, and both of you just ran away.
Yeah, I don't know if I ran away or not. I mean, I got lappers really bad because of the rain. There was a little bit of mud like on the edges of the track, but but I picked my way through the leaders. And I was real happy. I was trying some new things out there, and I know I didn't necessarily have the fastest times that heat, but I mean, I really feel strong, and I really feel like I can do whatever I want to do on the bike and on the track. And so that's mainly what I want to feel when I go into the main event.
Is this main event going to come down to a hole shot between you two?
Well, I hope it doesn't. I hope it's just me out front. But I mean, Kawasaki's built me a great bike. Once again, a Bridgestone shift. Arnett goggles. I'd like to say hi to Greg Arnett. He's here. Shoei helmets, Troy Lee design. All of them. They're really making a difference this year.
All right, Jeff. We'll see you in the main. There's your winner.
Greg Albertine they're putting a neck brace on him just for a precautionary measure. It looked like he got a little whiplash when he came down and hit his head after hitting the tailbone. Really dangerous stuff, as you could tell the speed he was traveling at the time he left the bike.
I can tell you, I don't mean to make any light of the situation, but he did a on-the-ground Superman like McGrath does. It was unbelievable.
Emig, Ward, Button, and Lawrence advancing to the main event after our very exciting heat number 2 on to the semifinals, which spells opportunity for many when we get back.
Now the bike you want.
Bikes were scrambling after the heavy rainstorm. The guesswork began, especially when it came to tires. Marty Reed takes us one step further.
No matter what form of motorsports, tire selection is always critical. It's the same for motorcycles. And looking at the 3 types, you may not be able to tell a difference from the naked eye, but we're going to zoom in a little bit and show you. In the hard pack situation, you're trying to get more rubber on the dirt. You need that traction. You need to bite down in. So you'll notice that they're bigger blocks, and they're not actually squared. Move over to the intermediate tire, and you'll notice that they are squared off, a little bigger spacing, and a lot more grooving down the middle. Then go all the way over to the mud tire, and you can see that you've got bigger gaps, the widest possible, because you want the tire to clean out. You want to get that mud out of there so that you continue to move forward.
Okay, thanks, Marty. We're getting set now for the semifinal number 1. 5 riders. The top 5 going to the main event after this one. Damon Bradshaw, Buddy Antonez coming off the 1997 Arena Cross Championship. Ryan Huffman, Ezra Lusk. He had the whole shot in the qualifying heat, but Ryan took him out. I mean, Ryan Hughes took him out, not Ryan Huffman. And then a lot of other names, gentlemen, that have the opportunity to possibly get into their first main event in the 250s. Not the veteran Barry Karsten, as we saw his back. Semifinal number 1 is underway. It's Ezra Lusk from the outside. A clean hole shot for number 11.
Did the same thing in the heat race.
Oh, Bradshaw had a little case job there, and he's back to 4th.
As soon as you make a mistake, it's costly in a semi to make mistakes, because you end up riding with guys you normally don't ride against. Usually these guys like Bradshaw and Lusk qualify out of the heat race, so Damon needs to get in front of Ryan Huffman if he can and go out there and run with Lusk. That'll give them a pretty good idea of the pace and what they got to do for the main event.
Ryan Huffman has one great talent. He gets out in front early.
And one thing about Ryan Huffman, he is one of the really true privateers out there making the main event every Saturday night. Some of these guys are on independent teams and get some semi-factory stuff. That kid's on his own.
Well, he certainly has a good bike. I'd like to see his mechanic one day. I'd like to meet him. That guy puts together a great bike.
And let's not discount the talent of Ryan, too. Aggressive. Sometimes even the factory guys, sometimes you feel more comfortable at home on your practice bike than you do on your race bike. The race bike tends to be a little more nimble. Everything works so much better. The response is a lot more. As soon as you hit the throttle, the thing just lights up. And Ryan is riding the same bike all the time, pretty much. He's probably really comfortable out there.
You know, this track has proven in the heats that one little mistake can just put you out for the season, maybe. Just one little bobble. The last race Bradshaw was in, he was in first place after getting the whole shot in Houston. One little bobble, and all of a sudden he's in fourth, and then he fades back.
That's the way the sport is now. There's so many good guys out there in every race. You know, you have a full load of factory riders, then you have these independent teams again, and you have kids like Bradshaw and Larry Ward, Phil Lawrence, Jimmy Button. Those guys all have the potential to win a race. They're all podium potential. You know, we got a thick field now.
Okay, Ezra Lusk out in front, and Bradshaw goes into second place, David, as you were noting.
Yeah, I was about to say, look at that drive. Bradshaw gets out of the corner before the whoops. That's what set up the pass. He got close enough to Ryan in the corner to make a good move. Now let's see if he can catch up to Lusk. He's starting to open up a big lead.
Buddy Antonez, good to see him running strong now after a wonderful arena cross season. He made quite a few bucks in that fast-growing event.
He's going to get a lot of laps out here tonight, too, having to go to the semi. He already had to ride a preliminary qualifier just to make the program. So I hope he's in good shape.
The top 5 here in the first semifinal are pretty well defined if they can stay on 2 wheels. 5 more riders to qualify for the main out of this semi. We'll find out which ones right after these words. Across from Orlando, Florida, you're looking at our leader right there, Ezra Lusk. And let's go down trackside to Marty Reed.
Well, Ezra, of course, in that first heat went down, and we talked to Steve Butler. The only thing they really had to repair was the clutch lever. Asked him about Ezra. He said, nah, he wasn't hurt. He's okay. And obviously, the way he's running right now, both he and the bike are doing fine.
Oh, that's obvious by his times, David Bailey.
Well, Lusk right now has got it all together. He looked good in the heat race, too, until he got in a little scuffle with Hughes and got the worst end of it. But right now, he's running 102s. Jeremy was running 102s in his heat race, pretty consistent, and Emick was 103, so Lusk is on the pace.
Ezra Lusk, despite the fact that he's in the semifinal round right now, is a threat for the main event.
You can also tell that Ezra's going fast because the track is changing. If he's running the same times that MC and Jeff Emick were running, he's out here now, and later on the night when the track's a lot rougher, a lot more lines, that's a pretty good ride.
And Davey, you talked about how the field is so stacked. There's so much talent. Bradshaw is actually closing just a little bit on Lusk that lap. That tells you the pace he's got.
Bradshaw looking for his 20th career victory. Ezra Lusk leading the semifinal field is looking for his very first 250 Supercross win.
Bradshaw coming into the triple. Another look from the front. They come right out of that double and get that preload. They go down that little valley. The suspension compresses and rebounds. And some of the guys are over jumping on the 250s, but in the 125s, it's a whole different story.
Ryan Huffman hanging in there in third as Bradshaw now is about 5 seconds behind Ezra Lusk, number 11, here on the final lap.
Now, here's something to look for, I think, in the main event. Lusk got the whole shot in the heat race and in this semi from the outside. He's going to have a lousy pick to the starting line, which I think he'll line up again on the outside. If he gets a start, he's fast enough to win it.
Ezra admitting after the last race that Jeff Emick was just running too great and decided he better not take a chance and go for the second place points.
Yeah, that Houston race was a demolition derby, and it was good for Ezra to ride solid the whole time. I know he lost that spot to Emick, but when you look what happened to Doug Henry, and Greg Albertine, and some of these other guys, you just sometimes need to relax.
Did you see that?
101.
Steve Butler putting that sign out. Whoa, what a time for Ezra Lusk. Here comes Bradshaw, though. Bradshaw's pulling up now near.
So let's assume that if Bradshaw made up that much time, he's somewhere in the range of 109. So either the track's breaking down and getting faster.
Oh, the lapper. Look out.
Or these guys are on a good pace. You see that the track designer have done a great job of doing something different. So these guys have choices.
Ezra Lusk, oh, it turns out to be a well-earned victory holding off Damon Bradshaw here in the semifinal round. When we get back, Marty, semifinal rounds completed. Ezra Lusk, Bradshaw, Huffman, Antonez, and Eichel have qualified for the main event. The rider taking the checkers, Ezra Lusk. Marty's with him now.
Yeah, we're down here in victory lane. You realize you were running lap times quicker in that race than either Emick or McGrath?
Well, I was pushing. I was trying to make some fast laps, and I knew all day that I had the speed. I just got to get out of that bad luck and
just force it. You know, I mean, not really force it, but just get out front and run with these guys.
How much is the track conditions changing?
Oh, it's getting really good. It's getting a lot of ruts, and lines seem like they change every lap. So it's going to be tough 20 laps, but we can do it.
Ezra Lusk on his way to the main event.
We're getting set now for the second semifinal round, and of course, one person conspicuously absent is Greg Albertine after that gruesome crash in the open qualifying heat. Marty Reed, can you bring us up to date on the situation of Greg Albertine?
Yeah, Art, Greg has been transported to a nearby Orlando hospital. He wanted to stay. It was the EMTs that said, you are going to the hospital. He has a very bad bruise on his hip. He also was complaining of low back plate. No surprise when you look at that crash, but he was sitting up for a moment, then they laid him back down. He's on his way to the hospital. If we get more information, we'll pass it on.
Okay, thank you, Marty.
Well, I just had gotten through talking about the crash in practice and thinking that it might be 3 years in a row for Greg to have to go to the hospital, and can't believe the change of events towards the end of that race, and it looks like Greg needs to stay away from Orlando in the future, or just tiptoe and just try to make the main, just get points, not worry about racing.
Okay, the 32nd board is up, getting ready for the second semifinal now, of which 5 riders will advance to the main event here tonight. We've got guys like Grayson Goodman, Cliff Palmer, Jason Frenette, Ty Birdwell, Pedro Gonzalez, a 125 West Coast rider out of Monterrey, Mexico, James Chamberlain, Jeff Geis, John Fessler. Davey, there's lots of opportunity for someone to make their first main event here tonight.
Yeah, we see the board go sideways. We'll see what happens. The guys on the outside, like Dave was talking about earlier, a lot of guys pulling hole shots, I'm sorry, from the outside. We see one right now.
Another outside possibility right there. Is it Chamberlain?
Mike Jones, number 58,
yes,
gets through the first corner a little cleaner than everyone else. Wasn't the first one there, and he's got Grayson Goodman in second. These two guys battled it out in the preliminary qualifier a little earlier, so they're used to each other and their moves on the racetrack.
It's Fessler, number 102, as we take a look at our leader.
Both Grayson and Mike Jones able to get over that triple clean. Everybody behind them, including Palmer, having to go for the double. So it looks like these two will be able to open up a pretty good lead.
Jones, number 58, on the Kawasaki now, going into the triple. Goodman right on his tail.
Yeah, you know what? We lost Fessler earlier on that lap. We were watching Mike Jones and Grayson Goodman battle for the lead spot there.
You know why we're watching this exciting semifinal action and a battle for first place? A good friend of ours from years past has come into the booth, an Orlando Magic player, Dennis Scott. And Dennis, I notice that you're looking very intently at this action. Have you ever ridden a bike?
Oh, I'm scared of motorcycles. This is really intense right here. And see this thing called a triple jump is really amazing to me.
What was your first reaction when they say, look at the triples, look at the triples?
I was looking around, I was looking for, the motorcycle to jump 3 times. They said, no, it's for 3. They're trying to explain it to me, but it's really amazing.
Well, these kids are really great athletes, aren't they, Dennis?
Oh, they have a lot of guts, and I know they got to be physically fit to be able to ride a motorcycle that long and do this. Look at that jump right there.
Grayson Goodman, you can take over my job, Dennis Scott. Trying to buck into first place right now here in the semifinal round. Well, I know your season has pepped up since the beginning, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been great. We started off slow, and we got everybody healthy. Penny Hardaway's healthy now, and we're getting ready for that playoff stretch.
Grayson Goodman did a case job.
And see, I'd be terrified to try something like that.
Well, I can't shoot 3-pointers like you can either, partner. It's great to see your smile again, and it's good to see you here enjoying Supercross at its best.
Oh, it's my first time here. I might end up having to turn into a Supercross fan now.
Look out. Thanks for joining us, Dennis. Dennis Scott of the Orlando Magic, and we'll be right back as the race for the checkered flag continues.
Take everything you ever knew about.
Here we're back now as Cliff Palmer. We're watching Grayson Goodman, number 150. Cliff Palmer coming out of nowhere with that leaping jump.
Yeah, actually that was Grayson. We got him a little mixed up there. Mike Jones is second. Palmer went back to third. And fourth place is actually a 125 West Coast rider. That's Pedro Gonzalez.
Pedro Gonzalez, number 35, one of his finest 250 rides going on right now as he leaps into third place. Pedro Gonzalez doing a great job through the whoops as well.
Catching everybody by surprise right now. Both Palmer and Pedro caught these guys, and Mike Jones had no idea they were coming. He knows they're there now. I thought it was going to be a 2-man battle, but Looks like it's going to be a four-man battle unless Grayson gets away.
3 laps to go. Grayson Goodman out in front of him in our second semifinal round. There's
a lot of his fans from Mexico and everything there. That was a great scene after the race, but I'm sure they'd be just as happy to see him riding real well in the 250 here.
Michael Jones holding in there pretty well, gents.
Well, Mike Jones is one of those guys that gets great starts and he hangs on long enough to get the job done. Looks like he'll make the main.
Well, no one likes to go to the LCQ. I can remember a rare instance that Jeremy McGrath, he was forced to go to the last chance qualifier, won that, came back to win the race, but that's a rare occurrence.
Yeah, I can't think of that happening again in a long time, other than, like you said, when Jeremy did it at Pontiac back in '94.
Cliff Palmer getting out of shape in that whoop section I mentioned earlier. Those last 5 or 6 bumps get deep. If you get a little squirrely before those, then that's what happens. But he's able to get back on the racetrack.
Well, the riders in front of you really determine how you can take that.
Yeah, I think right there he allowed Jason Frenette and Ty Birdwell, I think it is, to move into the qualifying positions. I think Palmer has probably 2 laps, and he's got a long way to go if he's going to get into the direct transfer position.
Frenette, number 55, if we pick him out. You're looking at Jones right now, 58. And Pedro Gonzalez battling it out.
You can see all the little white spots on the racetrack. That's tearaways. Since the practice sessions and all that rain, these guys double up, triple up on the tearaways to keep their vision clear, and that's what you're seeing out there, 100 of them, everywhere you look.
Well, actually, this track is a lot better after that rain than I thought it would be.
Well, earlier it was hard packed and dry, and the rain actually made it perfect. It's going to make for much better racing. We heard Lusk talk about it after the semi that's getting rutted, and I think the main event, the guys that can react quicker to the new lines are going to be the ones that come out on top.
You saw the field summary. Goodman is a good 8 seconds in front of Michael Jones as we're looking forward now to the white flag. Goodman. As Michael Jones comes across. Pedro Gonzalez right on his back rubber.
Goodman spends a lot of time riding Supercross. He loves it. He's got an incredible Supercross track at his property in Dallas, and
well, I know Jeremy doesn't like to leave when he's getting ready for Dallas. You know, he likes to work out on that track.
Well, Grayson, you know, they built. Oh, there goes
Pedro Gonzalez with a wonderful move. Go ahead, David.
Well, Grayson is good friends, of course, with Jeremy, and tries to build something that's going to be pretty tough and throw Jeremy off a little bit. And then Jeremy shows up, gets it all wired, and Grayson follows suit, and that really helps him when he comes here to the races to feel comfortable out there. It's a good jumper.
Grayson Goodman getting stronger and stronger. Seems to get good starts in most every occasion.
He's a little bit shorter, too, and you see him working the bike through this loop section. Doesn't look like he's trying very hard, but his momentum and his timing is spot on. And he knows he doesn't have to push that hard with the lead he's got now. Cliff Palmer going down again after the triple. So he's definitely going to the last chance.
The checkered flag for Grayson Goodman. Well, that's good to see. We haven't seen Grayson up on that podium.
Spent a lot of time on the Arena Cross Tour, and I think that's why he's getting such good starts. It's start well or die in that series.
Yes, that's a fact. Official results in the winner coming up next. From the Citrus Bowl, 18 riders now have qualified for the 20-rider main event field. Grayson Goodman is the one happy guy that doesn't have to worry about winning one of those final 2 spots in the last chance qualifier. He's our semifinal number 2 winner, and he's with Marty Reed.
Yes, and it's very rare we see a triple digit on the podium, and a first-time win for Grayson Goodman. And the guys were talking about the fact that you work out a lot with Jeremy McGrath. First, congratulations, and 2, how much of an influence is it practicing with him?
Well, you know, when you're going after the best, you know, your role model is the best guy in the world. It helps tremendously, you know, go out and practice and feel confident riding behind somebody that good. So when you come to the race, it helps out tremendously.
Yeah, what do you expect for the main? Where should we look for you in that pack?
Well, I'm just going to try to get the best start as possible and ride my hardest the entire race. This is my first 250 main of this year. I normally ride 125s, and I'm going to be up there charging, giving it all I can. I don't have any goals, just do as best as I can.
Now, this is one of the things we've loved this year, seeing new faces up on this podium. Here's another one.
Have we ever, and what talent is emerging? Not just the outstanding riders that we've seen year after year. As we look ahead to next week and beyond, it's on to St. Louis, the next site. Oh, that's the site of Jeff Emmig's historic win, of course, and then on to Pontiac. Before Charlotte Motor Speedway, Texas Stadium comes next with the finale at Las Vegas, Sam Boyd Silver Bowl Stadium. Let's take a look at Supercross history with tonight's Honda Flashback.
In our Honda flashback, we'll turn back the pages of history to the season opener in Orlando, 1993. Bradshaw with the hole shot. Craig goes down in the first corner, taking Larry Brooks, number 17, and Jeff Emig with him. Out front, Bradshaw continued to lead as McGrath, number 15, goes off the racetrack, allowing Team Kawasaki riders Kudrowski and LaRocco into second and third. Out front, Bradshaw started making mistakes, allowing Kudrowski to close the gap. In the later stages of the race, Kudrowski with an inside line moves around Bradshaw and into the lead. Next came LaRocco with an inside line through the whoops, muscles his way around Bradshaw and into second place. And just when it looked like Kudrowski had it all locked up, this mistake in the whoop-de-doos allowed his teammate to pick up his second consecutive win, the season opener, followed by a disappointed Kudrowski.
AMA Supercross is being brought to you by 1-800-COLLECT, the way we call collect today. Welcome back to Orlando, and while we were away, Jeff Hedden and Mike Catton were the lucky final two riders to qualify from the last chance qualifying round, filling out the 20-rider 250 main event. Now the spotlight turns to the future stars of Supercross, the 125s, the Eastern region picking up their season with round 4 tonight. You see Tim Ferry, number 22, second in points. Number 29, Scott Sheik, trying to move up the ladder, but number 14 on the far left, he's the guy that leads the points race as we get set for 125 action. John Dowd back from maternity leave, his wife Trish giving birth last Saturday to Ryan Joseph, almost 7 pounds. And John wants to thank the AMA for the scheduling and the wife Trish for the convenient timing for giving birth on an off week that he can now get back into action.
I don't know if the time off was, really the best thing for my riding, but it was really a great thing, and I'd like to thank, the AMA and all them guys for making such a great schedule, so that she could have the baby on a week off for me, so that worked out really well.
John Dowd hoping to come back from the off time that he had without very much practice, just hoping he doesn't get too nervous if he gets out there.
Well, he looked good in the heat race, and that's a valid point. When you sit out a couple races, even though you're the points leader, a couple weeks rather, you come back and you want to get right back into flow, and sometimes that can be difficult, especially when you got number 70 Ricky Carmichael breathing down your neck. Ricky
Carmichael coming from last to third in the qualifying heat. What a performance, thrills he gave the audience here in Orlando in the 125 qualifying heat. And there's Tim Ferry, number 22. Suzuki has had some bad luck here in Orlando, and Mother Nature kind of got into the act today. It really got into the act. Marty Reed surveyed the damage. Marty?
Bad luck is not, that's an understatement. Team Suzuki was the one hit hardest. Let's show you exactly what happened. We talked about the rain. It was a deluge. In 20 minutes, we got an inch and a half. It was just come down in sheets. Then the winds kicked up, and what happened to Team Suzuki was unbelievable, because their canopy, their $12,000 canopy, acted just like a wind wing and was literally blown away. It lifted a four-wheeler, threw that four-wheeler right on top of the transporter, putting a hole in the transporter. And Tim Ferry's bike was damaged. They had to change all the radiators and all the levers on the bar. So they have been sort of hexed early, but yet he came back well in his heat race, and he sounds like he's ready to go racing.
We got a little work to do, I guess. He's fixing his toolbox, and then got to put new pipe and levers and stuff on it. It's all been up, so it'll be ready for race.
Okay, Marty, the Suzuki point standings. You see here a great battle for first place underway with John Dowd and Tim Ferry, just the 2-point advantage. Ferry's got the 18-point advantage on Ricotta, but the real battle there after the number 1 and 2 riders is the battle for third, with Carmichael getting into the picture, guys.
Yeah, Carmichael was on fire there for a couple weeks, and then he got to Daytona and hit a roadblock in the form of Michael Brandis, who's conspicuously absent from the Chaparral team. But, you were talking about John Dowd earlier, Art. I wonder if that didn't actually do him some good, because he would have been riding in 250 at those events. He hasn't ridden in 250 since he did well in those first 4 races. He's on fire. Why would Yamaha want to mix up the program right now?
As we look at the Suzuki starting grid, all the riders that qualified for the 125 main event. These guys are looking to move up the ladder, gain the experience on the Supercross tracks. But you know, David Bailey, this track here is more than experience. It is a character builder. This is a brutal track for a 125 bike, it's turned out.
Well, I think what we're seeing now is that in the past few years, the tracks have been pretty simple, and all the 125s have been able to do the triples. The 250 guys primarily have been complaining about the tracks being easy. The track designers have made them tougher, a shorter run at the triples being a little farther, the landing jump being a little bit more peaked. And the 125 guys are thinking, okay, business as usual, and we're seeing a lot of guys go down. And this main event, I think if they've learned anything out of the heat races, we're going to see guys riding a little bit more cautious, but still, in the heat of the battle, somebody like Carmichael trying to burst onto the scene and Dowd trying to protect his points lead, that probably all is going to go out the window.
Well, we saw some real high-flying action and guts in the last chance qualifier, the 125s as well. The 30-second board is up. The fans now look at the intent look. They're ready for the main event. Scott Sheik, who did such a good job winning his heat race. And of course, the lone rider from Team Honda right now, as Lampson in the 250s is injured and will not participate in the 250 main event. But these guys, Ferry, Sheik, Roncada, Dowd, Skaggs, Carmichael, Deegan out of the 125 Western ranks. Jeremy Buell, a top qualifier from the afternoon. They're all ready to go now. As the gate drops, we are off. And a heck of a battle now for the whole shot. Look at number 70, Ricky Carmichael. Carmichael, the whole shot. Deegan, 28.
A couple of riders down in the first corner. That's Charlie Bogart. He's going to be the last one to get going, but Carmichael just muscled his way into that hole shot.
John Dowd and Tim Ferry in pretty good position in 4th and 6th. And Dowd has just now moved into 3rd. There's Carmichael, number 70. Looks like he could get lost in those mountains.
Well, he could. The jumps here, like I said, the track designers are making the track a little more difficult, and Carmichael is dangerous when he gets the hole shot. He can just run away and hide.
There we saw him crack that triple. The only one to do that, that's going to help him. If he can get away a clean break here while Dowd and Ferry have to go through traffic, he's going to be tough to catch, gentlemen.
Ricky Carmichael, our leader. And in back of him, it is a melee with Greg Schnell, number 110. You see him there in the pink shirt. Ricky Carmichael leaping up to the platform after the finish line jump. Really doing a great job. Let's take another look.
There's the 3 guys that we would think that could challenge Carmichael. Dowd, Ferry, and Sheik in that order. There they all are. Taking different lines through that rhythm section, but Carmichael is starting to open it up. Deegan hanging pretty close.
Deegan, a one-time winner on the 125 Western Circuit, but had all kinds of problems after that, Davey.
Yeah, he's had a really bad year. You know, the series right now is just so dynamic. The tracks change, the winners change, the riders change. Right here we see Ferry going past Dowd for 4th.
Good pass by Ferry. Dowd, though, he'll come on strong later in the race. He almost hopped off the track over in that same area where Albertine went off.
Well, Ferry'd like to redeem himself from Daytona, where Dowd passed him, went off the track, and repassed him to take the win. I think Ferry's got a few more friends here in the audience. He'd like to do well in front of his own town.
Carmichael already with a 4-second lead, guys.
It goes back to that thing. He's able to jump that triple. He's got an open track. I noticed that time Brian Deegan was able to jump the triple jump as well, but that's got to be a half a second a lap, and imagine when it does feel momentum in your mind.
Sheik is now putting some pressure on the rear tire of John Dowd, as you see him there, number 29. Much more aggressive in his qualifying heat.
He went down in practice this morning in a big water puddle. Was soaked. Looked like it really fired him up, made him angry. Went out and just attacked the track after that. And from my best lap count, he had the fastest times.
Carmichael now with a 5-second lead on Deegan. Then it's Sheik, Ferry, Dowd.
Greg Schnell up in there.
I should say Schnell, not Sheik.
Number 110, I got him mixed up.
Yep.
He's starting to apply the pressure now because he's feeling it from behind.
There's Ferry, number 22, second in points. He hasn't won a race yet this year, but he's had 3 seconds in a row. Schnell doing the job, number 110. He's in the sandwich on our picture right now. Putting the pressure on Deegan, good block angle. Schnell can't hold it though. Deegan, good acceleration out of there. Carmichael, Deegan, Schnell, Ferry, and Dowd. With Sheik behind him and Roncada right behind them.
Now watch, Tim Ferry just moved past Schnell because Schnell was trying to pass Deegan. He left himself open. Now we got Ferry in 3rd. He's got to get by Deegan before he can even see Carmichael.
You'll be able to see Carmichael going the other way. There he goes. That's a huge lead. And Ferry with the block pass on Deegan.
Ferry moving up the ladder. Boy, he's been riding consistent. It's just put him shy of the points leader, John Dowd.
You know, it's like someone just rang a bell. You saw Ferry make a move, then here comes Dowd doing the exact same thing. Now Dowd goes by Deegan. He's up in the fourth. Carmichael just keeps pulling him away.
Look at Carmichael go over that triple, and he sits back down on the back of the seat when he lands.
Well, a couple too many hamburgers. He's got to use all that body English to get over the triple.
John Dowd makes the triple and tries to get by Schnell here in the whoop section. Oh, what a battle. Dowd, number 14 on the inside, has the angle. Can he have the acceleration out of there? No, he doesn't quite have it. Schnell recovers. Schnell following Ferry, who's way behind Carmichael in our 125 main event.
Well, Ferry finally moved his way in front of this battle, and he's starting to open it up. Hard to tell if he's catching Ricky Carmichael at this point.
I know it's a short series, but I wonder if John Dowd is racing with a focus on Ferry more so than the win.
That might be a good point. Ferry winning here in 95. He was third in 96 with a battle with Pachon before crashing out of second place. Carmichael, Ferry, Schnell, Dowd, and Sheik. Who will hold on to the points race here for the 125 East? The run for the checkers is definitely on. Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Coombs, and Marty Reed from Orlando Citrus Bowl. The 125 main event in progress. Our winner, you saw him, I should say our leader, you saw him, number 70, Carmichael. Dowd right now is really battling Schnell, number 110.
You know, that's 2 laps that Schnell's held up Dowd through there. That's Dowd's fastest section, that whoop section. But I think the kid knows that he's there, and he keeps moving over. Maybe when the race goes on a little longer, we might see John Dowd pull the trigger in that corner. He's got him set up for a nice block pass.
Let's go down to Marty trackside.
Well, Davey, you were asking whether or not John Dowd was riding for the points. I went to Brian Berry and I said, are you riding points or are you going for the win? He says, heck, it's only 2 points difference. We need to win. And he says, right now, my man's not riding worth, you know what. I couldn't put it on the air.
Greg Schnell in this department. Let's check his record out. He was an 8th in the first race, then a 12th at Atlanta, and an 11th in Daytona. This guy has grown up all of a sudden.
It's amazing. He's delivering, and the lines that he's taking out there and the way he's pulling away from this pack, it's amazing. I think we're going to see a whole lot more of this kid in the future. The way he jumps the triple and enters the whoop section, he's making all of his time where these guys are right now.
How long can he keep it up? John Dowd, he's got good strength. Dowdy this time makes the move.
I saw it coming. Last 2 laps, like I said, he was just waiting to pull the trigger, but I knew he was going to have to make contact to get by Schnell, because Schnell's putting on a really fine ride on the Chaparral Yamaha.
Carmichael, Ferry, Dowd, Schnell, Sheik, Roncada in that order with Deegan after Roncada.
You can see a good shot as those guys come out of that corner. All the ruts, everyone's starting to move a little bit over to the left, try to avoid them. Watch Carmichael, untucked jersey and all. Watch him his line. Jumps off that corner, almost jumps over the hay bales on the inside, lands right in the rut. Look at this kid go. He crosses it up, lands right into the berm, and this is the section where he's making all of his time. Over the double, or the triple rather, goes to the outside, because he has to, and gets a great run at that whoop section. He's going through there faster than everybody.
David, what did you think about the first time you saw Carmichael on a 125?
You know, I heard so much about him, Davey, and from the amateur races, but never saw him, that I had these huge expectations that he was just awesome, with this great style, and I didn't really like it at first, but it's really starting to grow on me. I said this in Daytona. His style is all his own, and I like it.
He had the 19th in his first premier race of 125s and came back with a win and then a 6th place. Let's go down to Marty.
Yeah, one of the inside technical things, you know, every now and then we try and throw them out here. They changed sprockets. Chad Watts, his mechanic, went to a larger sprocket, and he says, obviously, he liked it.
That's the fastest I've seen anybody, even on a 250, get through that whoop section now. It's starting to wear out a little bit as we put the Honda stopwatch up, get a lap time on this kid. Wouldn't surprise me to see him going in the neighborhood of the 250s, around 101, 102, somewhere in that range. 7 seconds over Ferry.
Sheik was trying to get around Schnell. They bumped tires, and you see there Sheik is having a horrible time trying to get around number 110.
There's Deegan, who ran up front, second. Dropped back almost 25 seconds now, and it's not that Deegan isn't riding well. He's riding pretty good, but the pace tonight is just brutal.
Here is our leader, Ricky Carmichael. Lots of friends and families. He goes into the rut.
He just does whatever he's got to do to get the job done. The kid's just playing fast. And when you can mix fast with the timing, You got a winning combination there. We saw that from Jeremy.
Then in the last race, he crashed in the first turn. Last place, came all the way back to 6th.
It's just amazing. Coming up on a lap. Playing it smart, not going for that triple.
Look at that. Amazing. 102.7.
Yeah, the track's making for a little bit better time now. I think he's really got it wired, but those are the same lap times McGrath ran in the 250 class.
Finally, Sheik number 26 gets by Schnell. A lot more racing left in this 125 main event. We will be right back.
Today it's Supercross Terminology 101, and it's not to insult our regular viewers, but it's for all those spouses out there who are forced to watch for 2 hours. We want to turn you into fans. Let's start at the starting line, except in Supercross it's called the gate. And the reason is simple. If you get off of this thing properly, it's the gate to heaven. If you get stuck here, it's the gate to purgatory. Now, our next term is hole shot, and that happens down in turn number 1. And we're not referring to you going out and getting your butt full of buckshot with a 12-gauge shotgun, but rather, if you're the first guy into turn 1, you've got the hole shot. Next, you hear us talk about doubles and triples. Well, double is 2, and a triple, obviously, is 3. And if you can't count, well, that's when you start singing soprano for the New York Opera. Next is the rhythm section, or as we commonly call them, the whoops. And it's easy to find out why. You make a mistake, and all you can say is, whoops. Now, if you have rain, that's R-A-I-N, there's not much to do except run for cover. And finally, we'll talk about the berm. That's B-E-R-M, not B-U-R-N. But if you get caught in a rut in the berm, you do burn. So that's it for Terminology 101. Supercross, you've now graduated, and all you have to do now is convince your spouse to go get the beer and chips.
Welcome back to the 125 main event. The Orlando Supercross. Ricky Carmichael is our leader. Number 22, Tim Ferry, is in second place. He has a 3-second lead on John Dowd. And the importance of this, of course, is that Ferry is 2 points behind Dowd for the leading in the points. But look at Dowd. He's picking up some speed now on Tim Ferry. Watch him cut through the whoops. Oh, now he's only 3 bike lengths.
Yeah, he gobbled that time up quick and coming through the mechanics area, approaching the triple, doing the same thing Carmichael does, goes for the triple, and he has to go wide, and then that momentum from the outside carries him through the whoops quicker.
They're both leaving Sheik in the dust.
Yeah, and I imagine that there's a lot of people in the stands right now pulling for Tim Ferry. They got a Florida boy in first, one from Tallahassee, and we got Largo, Florida's Ferry in second. John Dowd, New England, are going to get up there and mix up that Florida sweep.
Yeah, what's this guy from Massachusetts stealing our show, right?
This is that tough whoop section where they got a rise in the middle. These guys get through there. The momentum is carrying them. It's actually, they're getting air off of that. Then they land in another hole, and the timing is off. Dowd is really putting the pressure on now. There's his mechanic.
Do not follow.
Can't pass if you're following, and if he crashes, it'll be Dowd's problem too, so find another way around.
Carmichael with a 10-second lead in first place.
We're coming up on Dowd's favorite section right here. Watch him skate across these whoops. All night long we see him go well and go inside, but that time he went on the inside on the approach. Maybe should have tripled and swung out wide and maybe got a better run at it that time.
Dowdy approaching this season with a different viewpoint, ignoring the points list. He says, in 1996, I was over-concerned with it. I blew it, and Mikel Bichon had an easy time of it. It's not going to be easy for anyone to beat me this year.
And you saw Dowd right now just reach up and grab a tearaway to clear his vision, following Ferry. You got to wonder how much of that he's got left as Carmichael still leads way out front.
Suzuki Field summary: Carmichael, Ferry, Dowd, Sheik, and still Greg Schnell holding in the top 5.
It's a tough decision if you want to follow a guy that close and take all that roost, which covers your lenses, and you go through all your tear-offs. You got to make that pass quick, or you can drop back just out of that roost, save your vision, and go for him late in the race. Because Carmichael, I don't think either one of these guys is going to cash.
Only 3 laps to go now. Can Dowdy make the move into second place?
We're back at that section again. This time he's going to swing wide. Now watch how fast Dowd makes up the time right here. I don't know. Ferry's tough through those whoops too.
Well, if Dowd had done that triple and still had that run like he's been doing earlier, that would have been a different story. He's setting them up, though, because it doesn't appear as though Ferry can do the triple.
Lee McCullum, boy, what a job he did on Ferry's bike after the storm. Bent it all up. Here comes Dowd! John Dowd, the new papa.
Whoa!
And look at there. They tangle, and Ferry comes out of it in second place.
Unbelievable.
Oh, my goodness. And Dowd is really slowed down. Now he starts to pick up pace back up.
I can't believe Dowd stayed up because Ferry came into that corner hot.
Those
Took
guys,
the front wheel away.
Those guys, I know that Ricky Carmichael's gone with the win here, but those guys are racing for the championship, and that was a bold statement.
Now Ferry is, now look what's happened. Sheik's starting to enter the picture. He's finding his rhythm. As they approach, looks like maybe the halfway point.
We're looking for the white flag lap.
Or the
Coming
white
up
flag.
next, here comes Sheik.
Boy, I wonder if Ferry did some damage to John's bike.
That's what I'm thinking right now because of the way he took off so slowly from the incident. White flag now as Carmichael is long past the finish line jump, headed for the last turn of this circuit.
There goes Sheik right there. He snuck up on Dowd coming down that corner, doubled in, and now this is really going to make some difference in the points.
It certainly will, as Carmichael, seeking his second win on the season, will also move up the ladder. Let's go down to Marty trackside.
Well, when the collision occurred, Brian Berry, mechanic for John Dowd, just looked over at Lee McCollum. He was furious, and there was a few words exchanged, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few more after this race.
Well, that's what you got to do. Racing's racing, and
well, let's take no prisoners when the championship is on the line.
Right.
Carmichael, does he lay it out? And the fans going crazy here watching this 125 main event that's had a little bit of everything. The remarkable performance of Ricky Carmichael, but also the battle between Ferry and Dowd. Well, we've got the checkered flag coming. And there she waves for Ricky Carmichael. Sheik started in 6th and made a nice run. Let's check it out. Ferry comes across in 2nd. Sheik in 3rd. And the crippled bike of John Dowd in 4th. So we'd have not only a winner here, Ricky Carmichael, but also a new points leader in the 125s. We'll get the thoughts of Ricky Carmichael as well as Ferry, we hope, as Marty Reed tries to corral him down there on the winner's podium. That's all coming up next.
The Honda 4Trax 300 4x4, the Foreman 400, and the Honda Recon, a 250 that's all new from the ground, mud, and slime up. You could go to the ends of the earth and never find better ATVs. We know. We've been there.
1-800-COLLECT presents Max Jerome, Private Eye. When I saw her, my heart started pounding like a heavyweight speed bag until she started calling Collect without dialing 1-800-COLLECT.
You could be saving up to 44% by dialing 1-800-COLLECT, Angel. Let me show you how it's done.
It's so easy. Now let me show you how it's done.
Any Joe will tell you, 1-800-COLLECT is the easy way to save up to 44%.
Hey, Vince, there's a big old juicy hunter sitting on an ATV in the mud over there. You suppose he's stuck?
I hope so. I'm starving. Wait a minute. That's a Suzuki King Quad. Selectable 204-wheel drive, 5-speed transmission, 3-speed sub-tranny? Nah, I've yet to see one get stuck.
Then what's he doing just sitting there?
Looks like he just stopped to...
Reload!
The Suzuki King Quad. More features than your friend's ATV.
Ricky Carmichael, a big lead, puts the show on for the fans here in Orlando.
Well, he's showing them all the drain plug. This kid floated around the track, and to whip it up like that at the end, what a night.
Okay, let's go to Marty Reed, who's on that podium.
Yeah, the very happy Ricky Carmichael. I got to tell you something. Man, you exploded and just ran away. What was the key?
Well, the key tonight was the whole shot for sure. You know, it's ruddy, and luckily, I turned it around in the main. I haven't been having a good weekend, but I guess it made up for it winning. And, you know, I got a good start, really concentrated, and got the pro race start thing. Got $500, so I'm happy about that. That's the first time. And I don't know, like I said, I just got the whole shot and put in 15 perfect laps.
You're 17 years old, right?
Yeah.
Can I have the champagne? You can't have that.
You can have it after I get done spraying it.
No. See, I need it because Davey Coombs had you in the pool, buddy. So, see, I got to give it to him. But, hey, congratulations. Great win. Let's go over to Timmy Ferry here. Timmy, fourth straight second-place finish. But guess what? You got the points lead.
Yeah, I guess that's one good way to look at it. Ricky rode really good that race. He got out front. You know, you can't let him get out front or he just walks away with it. But they rode good. Usually, you know, Dow comes up behind me like a Daytona. You know, I didn't have much left for him. I had a little something for him that time.
You think there's going to be some words exchange? I know the Krug guys were down here going after each other a little bit.
I don't really care, to tell you the truth. We're out here to win a championship. This is earning our living, and I'm just trying to get my Suzuki up front. That's all it is to it.
There's your man. He's in the points lead right now.
Okay,
Tim Ferry.
Marty, 88 points, 2 points ahead of John Dowd, 86 in our Suzuki top 5-point standings. Sheik moves in front of Roncada because of his fine late race charge, and Ricky Carmichael, well, he just continues to impress everyone, and you can just hardly wait to see him race again. We'll be right back. The big guns are getting set right now at the starting gate. It's the 250 main coming up next.
When mountains explode in heated anger, when the earth shifts in a sudden unimaginable jolt, when massive clouds of snow loosen their hold, lives hang in the balance as the amazing video collection presents Natural Disasters. Don't miss a minute of the most riveting, unforgettable, real-life video ever made. Get your copy now through this exclusive TV offer. See deadly volcanoes, catastrophic hurricanes, devastating tornadoes, and witness the most stunning acts of courage in human history. Natural Disasters. Feel the power. Call now. To order, call 1-800-769-2992. 1-800-769-2992. Natural Disasters. The most awesome video you'll ever see is only $19.95 plus shipping and handling. Pick up the phone and call now.
NHL tonight, Tuesday through Saturday at 11:30 or after the game, only on ESPN2.
Welcome back to Orlando, Florida, the Citrus Bowl, as we get set for some exciting action with the 250 main event. I don't know if the action can get much more excited, David Bailey, as Kennedy from MTV joins us up here in the booth along with Davey Coombs. But David, the prelims taught us that anything can happen in this main event.
Definitely, and it looks like it's shaping up to be an Emig and McGrath duel. However, Bradshaw and Lusk in semi-1 are running quicker laps, and LaRocco's had success here before, and it comes hard at the end, and the track's beaten down. That's a possibility.
Yeah, we saw in the 125 race how important the hole shot is. We know the guy who gets most of the hole shots this year is Jeff Emig, which brings me to you. Who do you think is going to win?
Well, I hope Jeff Emig wins tonight. I'm a little biased because he actually taught me how to ride yesterday in the middle of the Supercross course. They set up a little tabletop jump for me, and he taught me. I'd really never ridden a dirt bike like that. I got on a Kawasaki 100 and just rode around in circles and jumped over the tabletop a little bit for a how-to special I'm doing on MTV. So it was so much fun. I'd been to a Supercross before, and so I was so excited to come to another one and learn how to ride and just experience the whole event. So Jeff's my man, number 3.
It gave you a whole new appreciation anyway with the track like it is.
Oh yeah, it was raining all day today. I thought the track was going to be a lot muddier than it is, but it seems to be okay.
Kennedy, thanks for dropping by.
Thank you.
Good luck with your future experiences. Let's go down to Marty Reed, trackside.
Well, you remember the collision between teammates on the Chaparral squad, Phil Lawrence, Jimmy Button. Things got a little heated back in the old pits. Larry Brooks, team manager, had to keep them apart. Phil Lawrence basically wanted to kill him. Aggressiveness was the issue, and the focus was on Jimmy Button. Keep an eye on number 12 and number 18.
Okay, it's get nervous time. Number 3, Jeff Emig. Sitting there as we take a look at the starting grid. McGrath, Hughes, good to see him back racing after having all kinds of problems, injuries, and illness. Larry Ward, Jimmy Button.
Definitely going to be a fight, I think, tonight. We've seen so many different things this year, and I'm hoping, and it looks like anyway, we're going to have a duel. Larry Ward's also riding fantastic tonight.
Ezra Lusk is the last rider to get into the gate. He's taking his time, his own sweet time. You know, every athlete has some kind of superstition, whether they claim they do or don't. Back in their mind, they do. And going through this year's tough spell, we asked Jeremy McGrath about his superstitions.
Well, one superstition is I don't wear a new helmet, brand new helmet in the races. I like to practice in it first and not practice here. Like practice at home or practice anywhere else but the races. I always put my right boot on first. And I just do. I don't know. I've never changed. All through my career, I've always put my right boot on first.
There's Jeremy McGrath with Wyatt Seals as mechanic and David Bailey. What about your superstitions?
Well, I don't know. I think some of those, I think maybe Jeremy's jerking our chain. That's pretty wild, but I've mentioned this before. I used to wear one red sock, one blue sock, because I did it by accident once and I won. I usually just stuck with what I had on when I was winning, and as soon as I lost, I'd change it up.
You know, my father has a superstition. He never rides on Easter Sunday because in 1971, 72, and 74, he broke his leg 3 times on Easter Sunday. In fact, he doesn't even go to the races, and with it being Easter tomorrow, the feeling my father's going to be fishing somewhere.
Well, there's going to be a lot of guys going fishing for the money here in Orlando, Florida. Phil Lawrence got bounced by his teammate, still got up and qualified in that round. You got to hand it to him. The 30-second board is up. The goggles will be going on.
See these guys wait until the last minute. As soon as you put your goggles on, it gets hot and humid. They have a tendency to fog. I like to wait till the last minute. These guys stack on 4 or 5 tearaways, and it's kind of cloudy vision. So right before the start, you'll see them pull off 1 or 2, depending on how confident they are and what kind of start they think they can get.
The fans are standing up in front of us now. From the press box, we can see them standing and cheering. They're really into it as the board goes sideways. Any moment now, we will have the main event underway from Orlando, Florida, the Citrus Bowl. Who will get the $1,000 whole shot award? Lusk to the outside again, but Larry Ward, he runs across the line first. He's got the $1,000 with Ryan Hughes right on his tail. Rhino cuts to the inside. Rhino takes over the lead. Back and forth we go. Ezra Lusk is in a good position at third as Larry Ward comes back on Rhino. Oh, they avoid a touch there in the corner. What exciting getaway. We have Mike LaRocco in 4th.
Check out, I was about to say, a great start for LaRocco. And Jeremy McGrath is a few positions behind him. Not a very good start for Jeremy.
Rhino really going out. It'll be interesting to see if he can maintain this energy level throughout the race after coming back off the injured list.
Oh, we saw Brian Swink go down that triple jump a little further back, and he's down. I tell you what, talking about Rhino, what an aggressive first lap. I was not expecting that from him, but then again, if someone's going to attack, it's going to be a guy named Rhino.
Mac.
There's a look at Swink.
He's in 8th place.
Here's a look at Brian Swink. He's on the inside of the turn after the triple and before the whoops, and he just was getting things going, riding so well lately, and he's definitely hurt.
Can Ryan Hughes, number 9, hold on for his very first 250 Supercross victory? He's got Larry Ward, Ezra Lusk, Jeff Emig, Mike LaRocco, and now Jeremy McGrath moves up a spot.
McGrath has done what he has to do in that first lap and get around a few guys and stay in contact with the leaders. Saw what happened in the 125 main. Whoever gets the whole shot, they're able to have a clear track and pull away, use the fastest lines. They don't have to ride defensively. And now what you're seeing is the flags because of Swink. All these guys are riding one at a time over the triple jump.
You know what's bad about that? I just saw Jeff Emig ride up behind Ezra Lusk, and Ezra is rolling the throttle on the downside every time. I think he might have just really gotten a big handful of dirt in Jeff Emig's face, and that's going to mess his goggles up.
Ryan Hughes who's done here well here in the 125s and the 250s. 1995 had a steady run for a 6th place. Then he crashed in 96 with Craig going from 5th to 8th as we check out Larry Ward and Ezra Lusk battling it out. Ezra Lusk pulling up on Ward. He wants to take 2nd spot.
He's doing the right thing. He's not following. He's keeping the pressure on. Get a little out of shape in the whoops there. And here comes Emig. It's a great battle. This is what I was hoping to see. A lot of times these guys get off in different places. One guy in the back, one guy out front. Now they're all together, and Jeremy's at the tail end of this freight train.
And Brian Swank is to the inside of the track, so they'll have room to get around. But the red cross flag is out, so they cannot take... They have to take each mound separately. They can't jump a double or a triple coming through there.
Yeah, I saw that time Lusk got a handful of his own medicine. Larry Ward was able to deliver a little present into his face.
So it's Hughes, Ward, Lusk, Emig, LaRocco, and McGrath. That is our order. You know what's strange? Emig has never really had a great race here in Orlando.
Well, 4th place isn't too bad, and he's ahead of Jeremy. As long as he stays ahead of Jeremy, I don't think he cares what place he gets.
You know, a lot of times, well, at least in the last 5 or 6 years, the Orlando opener opened the series, and now it's in the middle of the thing. Jeff Emig, a notorious late starter, should be doing better, but it's no wonder he never won here before.
McGrath trying to get around LaRocco is doing everything he can, looking at every avenue to try to get around his teammate. You see them there. Number 1, Jeremy McGrath to the inside. LaRocco, though, has not given up. He's had some good racing in the last few races.
They're just behind Emig. That's the look they get. Now they're able to go for the triple. Emig goes to the inside. He points the front wheel at Lusk. Let him know he's there. And Ward really starting to put the pressure on Hughes now. Ward and Rhino. Great chance to pick up a win here. It'd be Rhino's first 250 win.
Watch him in this corner. Hughes went outside last time, and Ward went inside. Right there, he got him.
Almost touched the back rubber as Larry Ward looks back. Great call, Davey.
I saw that on the last lap. I knew it was going to happen. Let's see if Rhino tries the same move that he passed in the first place.
Larry Ward is our new leader. He has not led for quite some time. Back in Seattle, I believe, gentlemen, when he took a 3rd place.
Look at the lead. He's already opened up. He's already off to the triple.
Can Larry Ward become the first Honda to win in 1997?
That would be a shock. That would be quite a surprise. Not that it's Larry Ward, but it's the 10th race of the season. We're talking about it.
Honda's never gone this long without a win except one time. And they didn't win one all year back in 1981.
Well, ever since 82, it's been looking pretty good for Honda, and all good things come to an end, and by losing Jeremy, that's definitely changed the figures. And the battle behind these guys between Jeremy, Emig, and LaRocco is really getting hot, heated up.
Boy, Ward has got to like that. Ezra Lusk, who's got the speed, cuts inside Rhino.
I can't believe Rhino did that 2 times in a row. He knows better than that. And now he's going to lose his spot to Emig.
Somebody went over the hay bales and is under the hay bales in the corner.
Now Jeremy has gotten around. Oh, I thought he got around. I got him mixed up. Jeremy has got a good look at Jeff Emig. LaRocco has made the move.
A 4-second lead for Larry Ward on Ezra Lusk. Here comes LaRocco. Oh, what a battle this is going to be. All kinds of laps. 15 to go. Let's get out of Marty Reed.
Well, just a quick ad on Ryan Hughes. We talked to him right before the race. He says, I really feel good, but I know I don't have 100% stamina. I just haven't had enough to work out.
Jeremy McGrath, Marty, sorry to interrupt, is in a bar-to-bar battle with Jeff Emig.
Oh, my God. Jeremy just turned on a dime and left a nickel change right there. He went into that corner. I don't know how he made that rut. Now he's going to get by Ryan, it looks like. Got the inside.
Rhino's game's just falling apart here, but you know, for 3 laps he rode really well, and there goes McGrath right now.
McGrath looking back to Ryan Hughes as he shifts. Makes the move into the corner. Mike LaRocco, who's always done well and finished hard, is in front of Jeremy McGrath.
The important thing now is there it is. Emig has got to get around Rhino. He did it. Rhino made that a little bit easier. I think that it's just Rhino using his head, letting his teammate stay in contact with McGrath, because that's the battle for the series lead.
Lusk is now starting to pull up on Larry Ward. You know what? Chopped 2 seconds off the lead.
Sorry about that, Art. You know, wouldn't it be great for the fans down here? Larry Ward living in South Carolina, Ezra Lusk from Bainbridge, Georgia. After we saw in the 125 class, a couple Southeastern boys doing it here in the 250 class.
And I'll tell you what, don't give up on LaRocco. Morocco is notorious for charging hard at the end. They got plenty of time. And if they get into a battle out front, Ward and Lust riding defensively, and that's going to be to the advantage of Morocco, who's got an open, clear track and can catch those guys. And when the lappers get involved, that's going to be even better.
Jeremy McGrath has started in 10th and has moved all the way up to 3rd now, trying your 4th position, trying to get in front of Morocco. The race to the checkers when we continue. Welcome back to the Citrus Bowl in Orlando. We have a battle for first place underway. Ezra Lusk and Larry Ward. Ward has one Supercross win. That was all the way back in 1990 in his native state of Washington, the Seattle Kingdom. Ezra Lusk, he's looking for his very first 250 Supercross win. After picking off a 125 championship, what an adjustment, what a thrill this would be for Ezra Lusk, who's run fast all night.
You know what great lines they have in that corner down there. We watched it with Hughes. Now we're seeing it with Larry and Ezra. Just a really dynamic track. A lot of places to pass.
Well, all these corners are so wide open that when you're out front like that and you go out and take the fast line, which is usually wide up in the berm, you leave the door wide open.
It'll be interesting now with the lappers in front. Can they get a clean line? Can they get the line they want?
We just saw right there, Ezra Lusk did not. He failed to triple that jump. Larry Ward went for it. You never know when someone's going to be sitting there as a runway for you.
Ezra Lusk just, Burnett, I believe, number 55. He didn't mean to get in his way, but Ezra lost just a little bit of time through the mechanics area.
We questioned Larry Ward's physical condition earlier in the year. Oh, my goodness.
McGrath.
Here comes McGrath.
He's all over Larocco.
All over Larocco, like a blanket.
Looked like he had the pass made in the whoops, and Larocco got him right back. That battle really getting hot. Those guys are starting to, looks like they're starting to pull up just a little bit. Looks like perhaps Lusk and Ward were getting away. Now I think they're close enough to do some at the end.
Yeah, it's 3rd and 4th. Just 4 seconds behind our leaders and pulling it up. Look at Ezra Lusk, though, coming through the whoops. They get around the lapper. Larry Ward, as I was saying, we questioned his physical conditioning earlier in Seattle when he was riding so well because he was riding hurt. Can he hold on physically?
Well, I really don't think he has any excuses tonight. If he loses this race, it's because Ezra's going faster. And right here, we get him right up beside him. The Yamaha's been fast in the whoops all night. Maybe right here, after this corner, Ezra will pull the trigger.
Ezra tries to cut inside. He'll follow him through the whoops. Ward using the track well. Ward with 2 podiums. A 3rd in LA, a 3rd in Seattle. He's the top independent team rider coming into this race in 5th. He will definitely move up there.
No,
the halfway point now, gentlemen, the halfway point.
There it is. Boy, that's close. Larry Ward, he must have eyes in the back of his head to know he had just enough room to take the outside right there. We saw Hughes lose his spot by going wide.
Here comes Ezra Lusk, showing him a wheel.
I have a feeling that the only way he's going to get around Larry Ward, who can continue to turn these laps to the end, is going to be a physical pass.
And the next pack, Larocco and Jeremy, only 1 second behind. 3 seconds behind, Ezra Lusk takes over the lead.
David, you hit it on the money right there. The first time he touched him is the first time he passed him.
Well, it was pretty clean, though. He just anticipated Larry making a mistake on the outside. He laid it over and didn't have to make much contact. Now I'll see if Larry can respond.
Oh, we've got a freight train now of 4 riders. A possibility with 10 laps to go, Marty Reed.
We're down here with Steve Butler. Steve, your man, after 2 seconds, looks like he's maybe on his way tonight.
He's looking good at this point. I guess this is his position he's always wanted to get himself in. He always have trouble in the first 10 laps. So 10 laps are down, 10 laps to go, and there's a block going on behind him.
First time I've seen Steve Butler smile in quite a while.
What a race we've got underway right now. The early leader, Hughes, has dropped back to 6th place. No doubt because of physical conditioning. Coming back off the injured list, it's Ezra Lusk, our leader, with Larry Ward, Mike Larocco, and guess who? Jeremy McGrath. And a long way back is Jeff Emme. Can he make a late race charge? Here comes McGrath, showing a wheel to Larocco.
Well, right now, the way it sits, if Jeremy stays where he is, and I doubt that's going to happen, he's not going to be happy to stay behind his teammate. But if things did stay the way they are, Emig would only lose 2 points on that 11-point lead. And looked as though Lusk was starting to pull away, but now Ward's closed the gap back up just ahead of these guys.
Lusk is having trouble getting through the lappers as you see Mike LaRocco Sr. there. Look at that rocker back and forth. He's as nervous as the crowd is. Here's Jeremy McGrath going wide off the platform.
Well, that looked like that time in Atlanta when Jeremy came down and landed on Mike Craig. I thought he was going to get LaRocco that time, but LaRocco was able to exit just in time.
Fighting through the lappers right now, Ezra Lusk, Larry Ward, Mike LaRocco, but right on the back rubber is Jeremy McGrath. Here comes Jeremy! Oh my goodness! Mike LaRocco's not going to give it up easy. McGrath to the inside. LaRocco gets the momentum. Bar to bar we go! Unbelievable racing from Orlando, Florida.
Once again, McGrath turning on a dime on that inside, and I'm surprised that LaRocco was unable to do that triple unless perhaps he just wanted to let his teammate get around and put some points on Emig. After all, the title is on the line. There aren't very many races to go.
From 10th to 3rd, Jeremy McGrath.
Well, if this is the track, if you're going to get a bad start on, this is the track to do it. He has plenty of time to catch up to Larry Ward and Ezra Lusk. And like David said, Ezra's having trouble getting through the lap riders. That's going to play into Jeremy's favor.
As Mike LaRocco was a very important ingredient in Jeff Emig, his only win against Jeremy McGrath last year, Mike LaRocco could play a big part in the point situation here.
Yeah, I think LaRocco knew who was knocking on the door that time. I think David was right about him not going after that triple.
Yeah, and Lusk is starting to open up that lead. He opens it up in this section, and then over by the finish line, Larry Ward closes the gap a little bit more. But now Larry's going to look over his shoulder and notice that number 1 coming fast. He may start riding a little differently, and that's to the advantage of number 11.
7 laps to go. Ezra Lusk, number 11. Could this be his first career win? He could become the 6th different rider to win a Supercross race this year.
Watch him through these whoops. He jumps in about 6 or 7. He's getting through there fast. Lines up right for that rut. The balance of these guys to get into that corner, lock up the brakes, let go, get back on the gas, and be perfectly in that rut. So difficult, and it's getting worse and worse.
Trying to get back the lapper now of Buddy Antonez, and here comes Jeremy McGrath right on the tail of Larry Ward.
Ward faded outside. There's McGrath. Pow!
Unbelievable. McGrath now with only one man in front of him.
This is the time in the race, you guys, when you start to get tired. I remember being around the 14, 15 lap mark. Larry Ward doesn't want to have to try to keep the pace that McGrath had. He caught him quick. I don't think he realized. I think he noticed there's no way he could be able to hang with him. And Larry has ridden all year, very smart. He has an opportunity to pick up 3rd in the points, and if he can do that, it's a pretty good season.
6 seconds down, 6 laps to go.
Well, you're tired. Everyone's feeling it. Lusk has got a good lead, and if he looks over his shoulder and sees McGrath coming, that's going to be a great battle to the finish.
Jeremy with only 1 win on the year, but the consistency hitting the podium has been able to stay in the points race.
Yeah, and that's made all the difference. Just like Tim Frey in that 125 class, getting all those 2nd place finishes, it adds up to a title, and a title is a title no matter how many wins you get.
Jeremy McGrath almost leaped over the platform coming off the finish line jump.
LaRocco trying to get in there and just move Larry Ward out of the way, and it cost him. Now Emig gets by. So that's good for Emig in the points.
Absolutely. A tough break for Jeremy McGrath as far as the points race is concerned.
LaRocco just flew into that corner. Watch what he does. After the finish line jump, comes in. Larry Ward looked like he was undecided, and at the last minute he aimed for the inside, and LaRocco was just getting there a little bit late, and it really cost him.
Our leader, Ezra Lusk. Jeremy McGrath in 2nd place has got a long way to go to pick up with 5 laps remaining. Ezra Lusk with his strongest race of the year at Houston was David Bailey's pre-race favorite.
We've been working real hard, and all of our team has been putting in a lot of effort. And the rest of the guys are out except JD right now, so it's in my hands. But I'm just going to go out and have fun and you know, enjoy the racing and enjoy where I'm at right now.
Lusk, McGrath, Ward, Emig, LaRocco, and Button are order right now from Orlando, Florida. And some of these fans have not sat down the entire race.
It's been one of the best battles of the year. All the good guys out front. Lusk riding fantastic, and it doesn't look like Jeremy's eating into that lead he's got. Jeremy may have to settle for 2nd. And know and just pray that Emig is unable to get around Larry Ward.
There's 4 laps to go, David. When you won your first Supercross, were you nervous at this point, or were you just going wide open?
Yeah, I was very nervous. As we take a look at the Honda stopwatch, get an idea of the split back to Jeremy. It's going to be about 7 seconds, 8 seconds. That's pretty substantial to make up in the final 4 laps. And David, that final 4 laps of my first win seemed like an eternity.
You know, Ezra Lusk taking a second place in Los Angeles, followed his teammate Henry. He took a second place, of course, in the last race in Houston, following Emmy. But now it's a total different situation with him out in front. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Yeah, we're down here with Wyatt Seal. Time and laps are running out, and Emick is picking up some spots. What do you think?
I think we got time to hang on to second at least. Ezra's got a pretty good, amount of ground on us, and I don't think we're going to catch him, to be honest with you. So right now, the main thing is to stay ahead of Jeff. We got to have the points.
That's it. The key is stay ahead.
Lusk has got that flow just like Carmichael had in the 125 class. He's on it tonight. He was on it in the semi. He actually looked great in the heat race until he got together with Hughes. And just looked inevitable. 102, the same lap times as Carmichael. Gives you an idea how fast that kid was going.
Ezra Lusk, oh my goodness, he's on the verge of one of his dreams coming true.
You know, Ezra Lusk is about to go off the list as the fastest man on the planet never to win a 250 main event.
That's over now. Back into that burn one more time. His fingers on the clutch.
7-second lead, 3 laps to go. It would take a mistake by Ezra Lusk to lose this race.
Yeah, and by the way, I should shout out props to Steve Lamson, too. But in Supercross right now, Lusk is the best guy out there who hasn't won.
Lusk, McGrath, Emig, LaRocco, and Ward, our Suzuki field summary.
Now it looks as though what Wyatt was saying is happening. Jeremy looks like he's still charging, but I think he's just charging to keep the pressure on in case something was to go wrong. He'd be close enough to take advantage and make sure Emig has no chance of catching him.
Jeremy is under the feeling that he has to go into that final race in Las Vegas at least tied with Emig in points.
The reality of the points race is I need to beat Jeff every week. If I won every race from here on out and he got second, that would be the only way I could beat him. We have 6 races to go. I'd win by a few points, but you know, I just need to get in gear and win races.
I always thought that Jeremy would win 8 races and mess up in the other 8. Instead, he's just done just the opposite. He's just been super consistent, most consistent guy in this series.
Well, I think he's showing his true greatness.
Now, this is just really amazing that all the changes that he had to go through, and he hasn't given up. He's done a beautiful job of figuring out a way to stay in contact with Emig for the series lead.
The white flag is waving for Ezra Lusk as we see LaRocco.
LaRocco has moved around Ward, but he's all by himself behind Emig.
This would be Suzuki's best finish ever if Jeremy McGrath holds on to second place as far as Orlando, Florida is concerned. They've never won a race in 250s here in Orlando. The best was Mark Barnett, a 3rd.
Everyone's pretty spread out right now, and you can see that Lusk is just taking his time.
Well, and Jeff Emig has pretty much accomplished what he had to set out to do because of the circumstances. Moving to 3rd, 1 behind Jeremy McGrath. Look at Ezra pointing. He's feeling it right now.
He's coming to the triple. See if he's got anything for the spectators.
He's all business.
Double fist pump. I think he's probably too tired and too nervous to do anything else.
Ezra Lusk about to become the 6th different rider to win a Supercross race in this season.
It's a great feeling, your first one, and it won't be the last.
Not since 1993 have there been 5 different winners in a season. Twice we've had 6 winners in the 90s beside this time. Ezra Lusk, the checkered flag, and his very first 250 victory. We'll be right back. AMA Supercross on ESPN2 has been brought to you by Honda. Between now and May 31st, you can get a great deal on a great bike during the Honda Ride-Off. Honda, walk in, ride off. And by Suzuki. Your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. Welcome back, Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Davey Coombs as we take a look at Ezra Lusk pointing to the little youngster in the front row and giving his helmet to that youngster. He started throwing other things to the fans as well and shaking hands with all the the flagman around the track. What an unbelievable moment for this young man, winning his very first 250 race. And by the way, Marty Reed, this is the most wins for Yamaha in a season since Bradshaw in 1992. That's their 3rd win of the season. Marty?
Hey, he's just happy that he finally won. His best finishes have been when I've been away from the series. He thought I was his bad luck. Congratulations, great ride.
You know, I gotta say thank you, Yamaha, for giving me this opportunity. You know, I really haven't been having a lot of fun last couple of years. I've just been having a lot of problems, and I really love this team. I really love my bike, and Gary Simmons for increasing my strength training, and Bristol Tires, Fox Racing, good Lord Jesus Christ, AGV helmets. I couldn't have did it without them. It's a dream right here you're looking at.
Number 1, can it get any sweeter?
Oh, it can't get any sweeter, but I don't think I can get any tighter those last 5 laps. Oh my gosh, I was just going everywhere, but I was just trying to keep that pace, and I wasn't losing any time, so I was happy.
Ezra Lusk, your winner tonight.
And he's got 5 more races on the season to take this victory to heart and run with it. As we look at the Suzuki top 5 in the point standings, it is a 9-point advantage for Emig over McGrath. Larry Ward jumping up in front of Albertine. Moving up the ladder also is Mike LaRocco. What an outstanding evening of racing here tonight from Orlando, Florida. Incredible. As we take a look at the winner as we leave you. Art Ekman for David Bailey, Davey Coombs, and Marty Reed. Thank you for being with us.